So, picture this. You and your family are getting ready to come to Florida for a great vacation, and you're planning on coming in the middle of September or October. That's your time frame. You know you want to do some Halloween events while you're here in Orlando because there's plenty of them. However, there are two major Halloween events that occur in Central Florida around September-October time frame. How do you know which ones to choose? My goal by the end of this video is to help you guys come to a solid decision if you only have the ability to do one of these events. Anyways, what's up guys? My name is Adrian and welcome back to another Horror Nights Express video. In this episode, we're going to be discussing both Halloween Horror Nights and Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream, and we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the two events and kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect at both events, and to help you guys make a more solid decision on which event might be right for you, your family, and your budget. Starting off with Universal Studios is conveniently located in the heart of Orlando next to many of the attractions. As compared to Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream, it's located in Tampa, which is about an hour plus drive from the Orlando area depending on where you're staying. Both of these events are fantastic, and they both have their advantages and disadvantages. So in this video we're going to be going through some of the pros and cons of both of these events, and hopefully by the end of the video you'll have a better idea of which event might be right for you. So, beginning our list with comparisons between Halloween Horror Nights and Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream, we are going to go ahead and get into the number of nights that the event is running. Now, Halloween Horror Nights is going to be a much bigger event, and the event runs for 34 nights on dates ranging between Wednesday through Sunday, with only one event night happening on a Monday and Tuesday, which is the 30th and the 31st of October. Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream, on the other hand, runs only 4 nights a week in the months of September and October between Thursday and Sunday, with the event totaling only 19 nights. So at the end of each of these different points that I'm going to make, I'm going to add a tick counter up here in the video to show you which event takes the point for this specific category. And in this category, as far as the number of nights that the event is running, definitely Halloween Horror Nights is going to take the point for this one. It definitely works out in Universal Studios' favor to run the events on more nights, as it is more conveniently located in the Orlando area, so it gives families a bit more of an option when choosing which night of the event they want to go to, and when specifically they want to plan to go to this event within their itinerary. Now, this next topic is probably going to be one of the biggest deciding factors in how families plan their Halloween event in the months of September and October, and that's going to be base prices. I'm going to leave all the ticket prices for another video between Halloween Horror Nights and Howl-O-Scream, as there are many different options and it's too much to involve in this video. It needs its own dedicated video. So for this video, I'm going to be showing you the base price of the events, and these are going to be the cheapest tickets that you can find online in advance. So like I said, Halloween Horror Nights is going to be one of the bigger events in the Orlando area, and the base price ticket for Halloween Horror Nights for a single night is going to be $59.99 per person. So that's a pretty penny if you think about it for just one person, and if you're having a family of 4, that can add up quite a bit. Further down the road at Howl-O-Scream, however, the base price ticket for a Howl-O-Scream event night is going to run around $39.99, which is definitely a big difference between Halloween Horror Nights. So definitely in the battle between which Halloween event is best, a lot of families are going to look at the price, and right now Howl-O-Scream is going to take the point as far as pricing goes. Now in our next category, we have the number of haunts that are going to be included in both events, and I'm talking about the number of haunted houses that each event has. Now, Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream has 7 houses this year, as compared to Halloween Horror Nights, which has 9. Now for me personally, this is where Howl-O-Scream fails dramatically for me as far as which event is better, because Howl-O-Scream has 7 houses but only 2 of the houses, as far as we know right now, they still have one more house announcement to make. So far, 2 of the houses this year are new houses. The other 5 are returning houses from previous years. Now, for me, I like to have something new every single year, and that's where Halloween Horror Nights rises to the challenge, with new houses just about every year, with the exception of years past when we had Walking Dead. We don't talk about that time. Never. Each year, Halloween Horror Nights comes out with brand spanking new houses and with different IPs and different original houses. This year, with Halloween Horror Nights, we have a 5-4 split between intellectual property houses and original concept houses, which is phenomenal. So far, the IPs that have been announced this year are absolutely fantastic. And if you want to check out what IPs we have this year, go ahead and click the link in the description below. I'm gonna have it connecting to my Halloween Horror Nights video and what we know so far. For Howl-O-Scream this year, the 2 new houses that we have are Demented Dimensions and Undead Arena Live. With so far 4 houses are making a return this year. We're still unsure about the 5th one, whether it's going to be a returning house or a new house, but the houses that we have returning this year are Zombie Containment Unit 15, Deathwater Bayou, which I believe is in its 4th or 5th year. Let's see, I was a scare actor in 2013, so this is going to be its 4th year. Holy moly, it's going to be its 4th year. Deathwater Bayou, 4 years at Howl-O-Scream. And we're not even going to talk about Zombie Mortuary and how many years that was at Howl-O-Scream. Ugh. A crowd favorite from 2 years ago is going to be Unearthed, and returning from last year is Motel Hell. So in the category of the number of haunted houses between the 2 events, I'm gonna have to give the point to Halloween Horror Nights, as basically every single year they have fresh new ideas. Coming up next on our list is going to be the number of shows between the 2 events. Now, Halloween Horror Nights has 2 shows this year: the returning Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure and the fan favorite from last year, Academy of Villains. Howl-O-Scream, however, only has 1 show returning this year, and this particular show has been a staple of Howl-O-Scream for many, many years, and that is Fiends. Now, comparing the 2 shows, I'm gonna stick with Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure and Fiends between the both parks. Academy of Villains is mostly just a dance show. Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure focuses every year on making fun and parodying the pop culture icons of that year. And this show for me is always a blast, because a lot of times they make fun of Disney a lot, and the jokes really land with the audience, and it is always a fantastic time. Fiends, on the other hand, focuses a lot on Dr. Frankenstein and his minion Igor, and basically is another kind of dance show where they dance a lot to the popular songs of the past year that have been released, while also making some pop culture references and poking jabs at different pop culture icons throughout the year as well, but definitely not on the same level as Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. And definitely with Fiends, you can't forget the Naughty Nurses and whatever these guys are. So in the category of shows, I definitely recommend Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure over Fiends, which means Halloween Horror Nights, yet again, takes the point. Now, moving on to scare zones. Each park always has a great selection of scare zones each year, with roaming hordes returning to both parks this year. So, Halloween Horror Nights has 5 different scare zones, all of which I already gave an explanation on in my What We Already Know video for Halloween Horror Nights, and Howl-O-Scream has 5 scare zones this year. The scare zones for Howl-O-Scream this year are Carney Camp, Meat Market, Wasteland, playground, and a scare zone that has yet to be named. You can actually go on Facebook and go to the Howl-O-Scream page and vote for what you want the scare zone to be named. So that's pretty interesting. They're leaving the name up to you guys. So I know it's not exactly the fairest thing to do, but I definitely feel like both events are pretty on par with the scare zones and the quality of the scare zones throughout each year. So I'm going to go ahead and give a point to both parks for scare zones. Now, moving on to the different thrill rides that you will have available to you during each separate event. The list of attractions that we have that are going to be open for Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights this year include Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, Transformers The Ride 3D, Revenge of the Mummy, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, Men in Black Alien Attack, and The Simpsons Ride. We still haven't got a confirmation yet on whether or not Jimmy Fallon will be open for Halloween Horror Nights. So basically, most of the attractions that are inside Universal Studios are going to be open for the general public. However, when it comes to thrill rides, you only have really two major attractions as far as roller coasters are concerned that aren't screen-based. And that's going to be Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket and Revenge of the Mummy. So most of the other attractions are either going to be flat rides or motion-based, screen-based attractions, which is where Universal kind of falters for me. Over at Busch Gardens, on the other hand, all of their roller coasters are going to be open and available for you to ride in the dark throughout the event, as well as some of their other flat rides. So, major attractions such as SheiKra, Cheetah Hunt, Falcon's Fury, Cobra's Curse. All of those attractions are going to be open and ready for you to ride in the dark throughout the event. So as far as thrill rides are concerned, for things that are definitely you're going to want to hit during the event, I'm going to give this point to Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream. Moving on to our second to last category, it's going to be scares. Now, I'm talking about the quality of scares overall when it comes to both separate events. If you have the ability to go to both events, you're going to see a clear difference in the style of scares between the two. They're definitely different, and they're definitely worth noting when choosing which event might suit your taste. Halloween Horror Nights is definitely a much bigger event, and I've said that repeatedly throughout this video. And Halloween Horror Nights relies heavily on loud jump scares in order to get the fright out of their patrons. And for me, I've never liked cheap, loud jump scares when it comes to my horror movies, so I'm not exactly a huge fan of it when it comes to Halloween Horror Nights and the way that they like to scare. Now, I'm talking about the houses specifically. They don't use loud jump scares in the scare zones for the most part. However, in the houses, you will see a loud presence of strobe lights and loud jump scares. Howl-O-Scream, on the other hand, relies heavily on scare actor talent, and I can personally vouch for Howl-O-Scream when I say that they look for people who are seriously talented and are ready, willing, and able to get the scare across by any means necessary, within reason. Howl-O-Scream does not rely heavily on the use of loud strobe light jump scares. They rely on pure talent from their scare actors, which is something I admire a lot, and it makes it so that each trip within their houses can always have something different. Even if the house is a returning house, the same scare actor may not say the same thing twice, or may not try the same tactic twice in order to scare you, which is something I applaud heavily with Howl-O-Scream. Not saying that Halloween Horror Nights doesn't hire talented actors, I'm just saying that Howl-O-Scream definitely puts in a huge effort to make sure that their talent is creative as well as scary. So for this category, I'm definitely going to give the quality of scares to Howl-O-Scream. Now, throughout this video, I have given you a list of comparisons between both events, and a lot of the differences on this list have to do with one little thing: budget. Both of these parks have significantly different budgets when it comes to their Halloween events. Universal Studios has the biggest budget out of any park in Orlando when it comes to putting on their Halloween event. They are a major film studio, and they are basically the creators of the horror genre. So they have a lot of money to spend when it comes to scare actors, props, houses, shows, basically everything that involves their Halloween Horror Nights event. They have a huge budget for. And that definitely puts a damper on Howl-O-Scream because they don't have that big of a budget. Busch Gardens in general is not as big of a franchise as Universal Studios, so they don't have as much money to work with, which is really unfortunate because I feel like if Howl-O-Scream and Busch Gardens in general had a bigger budget to put towards their event, they'd be able to come up with fresh new ideas each year and have all new houses each year instead of having to save money and reuse a bunch of the different houses each year that they've had in years past. Sometimes they're having to reuse houses 4 years plus in a row just so that they can save money. I mean, yeah, within year to year they change things here and there within the houses that return, but all in all, the houses that return are generally the same. And that's definitely something that breaks my heart about Howl-O-Scream, is that I know that they have it in them to create a huge event each year, and they have the creative minds to create many new things each year. It's just the whole budgeting issue. So unfortunately, when it comes to budget, the point has to go to Halloween Horror Nights. So now we have to tally both sides and see how many points each event has gotten to determine which event may be the best Halloween event in Central Florida. Drum roll, please. And it looks like Halloween Horror Nights has won this battle. However, since Halloween Horror Nights is the winner, that doesn't exactly mean that Halloween Horror Nights is going to be the best event for you, your family, and your budget. You can take all of these different points that I've made in this video into account when deciding on where you want to go and take your family during this year's Halloween season. And by all means, if you have the ability to go to both events, then I definitely recommend going to both events if at all possible, as both events are completely unique and have different things to offer to the horror fans. Alright guys, well, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to make. It was definitely a bit of research on my part to get this information lined up and to separate it into different categories and to get it all to you. Hopefully you were able to follow along in this video and you were able to take different notes, and hopefully this video helps you guys out in planning your Halloween family vacation. So if it did, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below if this video was any help at all to you. Give me some feedback on maybe something that I can improve on in future videos, and definitely smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new. But with that, I am off, and I will see you guys in the next video.